Today. I am really excited to be working today. There's a lot of stuff going on. The first thing I'm going to work on, because it's what I was already working on, is Sullivan. Hello. How are you doing? Uh, what's up? Thank you for joining. Thank you for like always being the first person. I really appreciate that a lot. Um, Welcome, Skinny Seahorse. How's it going? Skinny Seahorse, where are you coming from and what are you working on? Oh, you solved the celery problems, Sullivan. Awesome. It ended up being a Docker container thing. Okay. Wait, can you tell me a little bit? Can you tell us? Can you tell me a little bit about what it was? Django's celery was looking for localhost, but it needed to look at the memcache container. Huh. Okay. I don't know what that means. I mean, I know what memcached is, but I didn't know you could have a container in memcache. But yeah, cool. I guess. um, yeah, but that's awesome that you figured it out. Oh, because on Docker, localhost would be inside the container, but your cache is in a separate container. Okay. So you need to like sync that or something, or find or access that somehow. Hey, Cheapo 2109, how's it going? Are the numbers in your name supposed to look like 2019 for dyslexic people? Just curious because I that's how I read it at first. Oh, you just had to change the setting and voila, awesome. So today I did a couple updates in between the streams. I made Let's see. I had better error handling for the wait syntax, and I implemented this new option that will log data every time it's saved. So you can see on the page here. So if you have that debug option enabled, you can see it. Yeah, it's a confusing thing, error handling, because sometimes I feel like I know exactly how to do it. Flipcoder, how's it going? Welcome to the stream. Yeah, error handling, sometimes I feel like I know exactly how to handle it, but then a lot of times with like server errors, I don't know whether to surface them to the user, how to like communicate them. They're like really hard. If it's just like you're not logged in, that's fine. It's just you tell the user you're not logged in. But if like your database is having trouble communicating with, some, you know, API, or you're having trouble getting the data on the back end somehow, I don't know how to communicate that to the user. Um, let's see. So, yeah, welcome back, Flipcoder. How's it going? What are you up to? What are you up to today? Um, so, yeah, today I'm going to be working on some documentation. I just want to make it easier to get started with Remake, and also like just like just add like a better description to the top level of Remake. So I'm working on that a little bit. So this is like the old documentation. I'm working on some new documentation. After that, I'm going to enhance the framework a little bit with a few new things. Like even though these look like a lot of items, it's like 8 items here. I don't think they should take too long. Like escape to close the popover, for example. I think that's like maybe a 10 or 15-minute task. And then I'll be able to get to the rest of the stuff, like building out the documentation site and stuff like that, because I'll be done with the framework stuff for version 1. So pretty exciting stuff. And I'm going to be like setting a launch date to like release it to the public and stuff like that. So this is the documentation I have so far. I'm just trying to make it like easy to get started with. But it definitely needs a lot of work. So if anyone has feedback, I would very, 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 very much appreciate it. Um, okay, so I'm adding like a basic description at the top. So I have Remake, an easy-to-use web app framework, and then below that, I'm going to say some stuff. I think I'm going to keep it mostly the same as what it is now. Um, Uh, render quickly. And use native browser features. Chandu, how's it going? Welcome to the stream. Hmm. What are you up to today, Chandu? Uh, so okay, do you guys do you guys use like a lot of what do you call it? Frameworks like front end frameworks? Because I'm having trouble. So I know like when I try to use a front end framework, I end up running into like some issues that are kind of handled by the browser naturally. I guess what I could do is just like I'm trying to think of like the ones that would be the most troublesome that like yeah that like JavaScript frameworks like re-implement because you know like if you're using like Ruby on Rails and you're just doing like a server rendered web app, you get a lot of things for free, right? Like routing, like form handling, stuff like that. It just kind of happens in the like a natural way. But with front end frameworks, you have to like handle the validation on the front end and the back end. You have to handle you know the routing and make sure like the page is scrolling to the top of the page, you know, on different routes or whatever, or like use a routing library. Maybe I can search like top React libraries, something like that, and maybe that'll give me a hint. Um, let's see. I think this should give me a hint. Uh, State management. Yeah, state management is pretty popular. Drag and drop. International. Okay. Nothing like too crazy yet. Um, Essential React libraries. Let's see about this. Uh, Utility libraries. That sounds good. Utility libraries. Nope. Man, why isn't there something like what I'm looking for? Authentication, routing. Okay, nice. Yeah, this should be good. Okay, project components, UI libraries. Okay, UI, we're not going to cover that because we don't provide any UI stuff. Podcast tutorials, examples, books, projects. Apps, websites. Hmm. Tooltips. None of these things you get for free. Menus, carousels, charts, time, calendar, infinite scroll, um, tree, search. You don't get search for free with native browser. I don't know. Maybe I'm like overestimating, but I do feel like like front-end frameworks have to re-implement a lot of things that you get naturally for the browser from the browser. I think I'm just not thinking about them right now. I think routing is a huge one, obviously. Um, doesn't get pagination for free. You still have to build that. Uh, um, Here, maybe I'll search re-implementing the browser features. I think there's probably something written about this. Re-implementing native browser features. Uh, huh. Nope, not really. I don't know, maybe this article. Passing data between two different components, oh, is also important. Yeah, that's kind of a hard thing to do. But I mean, it's not something that you get exactly for free when I'm trying to, okay, so like the thing I'm trying to do is like if you're um, like rendering a web application, sorry, what am I trying to do? So like if you have a backend framework and you have a front end framework, you have to make those talk together if you're using the front end framework. But if you're just using the back end framework alone, you get all the things you. How can I say this in a way that makes sense? Um, so there's the front end world and the back end world. If you are just rendering your site with like an old school back end framework, you just have to worry about the back end, right? So you're just, when someone goes through a certain route, you're rendering that route. When someone submits a form, you're, taking in that form on the back end and processing it and spitting out a new page. Whereas if you're using a front end framework, you have to still handle the routing, but you have to handle the routing on the back end, right? To some extent. Um, maybe some more, some less, depending on if you're doing server-side rendering or whatever. But to a large extent, you have to handle the rendering, the routing on the back end and on the front end, right? So you have a separate library on the front end. So you're kind of like um, duplicating your work, API routes on the back end and pages routes on the front end. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that too, right? Because you're going to have API routes. But even just the page routes, you'll have to, if you're doing things right, you have to handle them on the back end too. Because like if you want Google to like crawl your website, or like I don't know, people be able to link to your website and have that data like show up in a preview or something, like you need to have some kind of server-side rendering. So you have to, yeah, exactly. So you have to render something at certain routes, even using the backend. So you have to duplicate that again on the front end. So there's a lot of things like that. I kind of feel like form handling, right? If you're like someone's typing in a password on the front end, you have to validate that using your front end framework on the front end, but then you have to do that again on the back end, right? Because someone could, just like post something directly to your endpoint, right? So you can't trust the user's incoming data, right? So you have to still validate it on the back end as well. So there's a lot of things like this where you have to do them over if you're using a front-end framework on top of a back-end framework. Whereas if you're just using the back-end framework, you just have to do it once. So I'm trying to think of like those types of things. I think routing is a really, really good example, and I think form handling is a really, really good example. Um, but I'm not sure if there's maybe other. I mean, data. So state. I think state. It could. Yeah, is an example. I think you made a good point. Form handling and state management. Okay, so Remake is built on a server rendered stack, which means your pages will render quickly and use native browser features out of the box. For example, for routing, form handling, and state management. Um, no, this isn't a native browser feature. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if this is the best selling point, to be honest. But I feel like there's something there. There's something, about the difference between. So, yeah, I feel like I need to communicate that Remake is mostly server rendered so that like it's clear that you're not having to handle the rendering yourself. Oh, that's what I should say. Rendering, routing, form handling. Okay, so let's write this again. So I have this documentation. I'm going to say an easy to use web app framework And then I'm going to have a bullet point here. Okay, cool. I wish it didn't auto scroll. Can I turn that off? I don't want to spell check. I wish it didn't auto scroll. Whatever, that's fine. Okay, so an easy to use web framework. So low code, I think that's a good selling point. Easy to edit, I like that. But I think it should be stated differently. Easy data handling. Let me see, I'm getting a call. Oh, sorry, I gotta take this real quick. It's not really a big deal, but I should take it real quick. I'll be right back. Just like 30 seconds. Okay, I am back. Sorry about that. My my cousin, who was on stream the other day, is applying for a new position, and he needed some feedback. And I think he might actually be watching the stream really soon. Hey, cousin, if you're there, how you doing? But I don't know if he's here yet. Okay, so let's see. So documentation. Let's go here. And I think we just want to have like 3 points. So we're going to have easy to use web app framework. Geez. Okay. So we have A, B, and C. So what are our points? I think we can simplify this. So can you guys hear me, by the way? Are we good? Just want to. I think I'm good. Yeah. Oh, you can't. Oh, you can. Okay. Good. 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 Huh. I wonder. Is this the? No, that's the double one. That's the double sound. Okay. Good. Uh. Okay. I think that's good. Okay. Cool. Um, okay, so let's make these 3 points. So we have low code. I feel like that's a pretty good one, but I don't know about the term. I feel like it's not exactly a low code tool. I feel like I don't know. You're gonna still have to write a bunch of HTML and CSS, so maybe it's not exactly low code. Easy to edit. I feel like that's a good one, but that's for users. So we should specify something like that in there. Easy data handling. That's kind of cool. I feel like we could sum that up together. Easy to learn, great for users, and an enjoyable development experience. Um, Sugar syntax, that is what you want to see rather than low code. Sugar syntax. I'm not sure I like that term. I feel like, let's see. Let's search for sugar syntax. I think I've heard that before. Syntax within a programming language that is designed to make things easier to read or express. Oh, okay. It makes it, yeah, okay. Oh, syntactic sugar. I like it. Um, I feel like it goes beyond that though, a little bit, because so like if like an array comprehension, right? In Python, I feel like that's syntactic sugar. But if you're like taking a totally different data structure and converting it into, an array in Python, I feel like that goes a little bit beyond syntactic sugar. And I feel like what I'm doing with data attributes in Remake could be roughly described as syntactic sugar, but I don't think it describes it accurately. Um, but I do appreciate that because it does give me something to think about. Okay, so let's see. I think the number one thing I want to communicate um, is that it's like easy to learn or easy to use or like easy to get, I guess like easy to build with, right? Something along those lines. So let's say that easy to build with, and then and I think that kind of covers an enjoyable development experience. I don't know. I like this statement, an enjoyable. Oh, I didn't even say experience. Experience is so much better than process. Um, I do like this, an enjoyable development experience, easy to build with. I like this better. Let's see. An enjoyable development experience. That's so much stronger. Okay, cool. Great for, let's say great for your users. I feel like that's pretty good, but I think maybe that goes last, right? Because I feel like what I'm trying to sell people on is like, you should use this, you know? And I think being great for your users is great, but I don't think it's like developers' number one priority if they're like working on a hobby project, right? If they're just like trying to use Remake for like some little experiment or fun project, I don't think having it be great for their users. They want to like have fun. They want to play around with it, right? So I think an enjoyable development experience is perfect. Hey, Commander Root, how's it going? Working on some documentation, some intro documentation for Remake. Um, what are you up to? What are you up to today? Um, enjoyable development experience, great for users. So what's the other thing we can get out of here? I think we want to say something about the low code thing. I think, but I also think we're going to have to put a lot into the great for your users. Um, uh, let's see. What do we got? Low code. I don't like low code. Syntactic sugar, I feel like it doesn't accurately kind of capture everything. Um, and I feel like we're going to talk about the syntax here. We're going to talk about the syntax, and we're going to talk about the data, and we're going to talk about how like easy it is to learn. Okay, and then great for your users, I think we're going to say like fast to load, um, easy to use, and I don't know about the native browser features. I mean, obviously that's a benefit, but I feel like at the top, of the page is not something I want to show. Uh, we could say like auto saving, but that doesn't really make sense. Fast to load, easy to use, and we could say SEO friendly, but it's a little disingenuous because Google now renders front end code and like searches it for SEO stuff. So I feel like that would like SEO friendly. There are other search engines, and those search engines don't render JavaScript, I think. So it's still kind of accurate. Let's see. You mentioned it's great for editable pages. Yeah, I feel like maybe that's the first thing. Um, I was gonna kind of smush that into an enjoyable development experience, but no, I think so. Hey, DJ JK, uh, welcome to the stream. I think I know who you are. Thank you for following. I really appreciate it. Okay, so we're gonna. I think that's a really good point, Flipcoder. It's great for editable pages. So I'm curious about how to describe that because I think so. The level of programmer I ultimately want to target just knows like HTML. But I think right now I can't target them because I think this is a little bit too advanced for them. So I think I can say stuff like CRUD and people will understand it because that's something any web developer is going to understand, right? Um, so I think like easily add CRUD operations or something. I don't know, functionality. Or I think maybe simplifying that would be better. Easily make your pages editable. What did you say? It's great for editable pages. Maybe not easily because we just said easy to use. Hey, Oblivionaire, how's it going? Do you prefer Oblivioner or Oblivionaire? I guess it's Oblivioner. I think I said that the first time you joined too. Oh, you prefer Oblivionaire. Okay. Cool. Welcome to the chat, Oblivionaire. I will try to remember that. Nice. Okay, so easily, maybe like how about like instantly make your app pages editable. Instantly create user editable dynamic pages. Yeah, but I mean every single framework does that, right? That's not really saying anything. It has to say like, I mean, if it's a web framework and it doesn't allow you to create dynamic pages, we're in trouble. Um, how is my favorite Markdown writer? It is based around it. No, I totally agree. So I think that should be a thing. Create user editable dynamic pages. I don't know. I actually do. I do like that. Create. I think we have to just add something to it. Create user editable. I don't think we need dynamic here. Create user editable pages instantly. Instantly. How about that? What do you think about that? Data attributes, HTML. Okay. User accounts, routing. Easy to use. Slit. Fire. Nice. Okay, so let's see. Create user editable pages instantly. I like it. We'll say like using only HTML, um, data attributes. I don't know. I don't know about like mentioning data attributes at this point. Maybe just saying using only native. No, not native because we're adding functionality to it. So we'll say using only HTML. Um, Create dynamic pages your users can edit. I mean, we're pretty much just restating the headline here, but it kind of works, right? Create user editable pages instantly. Using only HTML, create dynamic pages. It's a little repetitive. Create dynamic pages. I don't know. Create. What did I put in the original? Oh yeah, using inline edit areas. You don't have to do anything else. So if you just download the framework and you attach data attributes to your HTML, you can create a editable page and start adding items. I guess no, okay, you're right. Because you do need to use the handlebars templating. So maybe I should mention that. We'll say like using handlebars. I don't know. I don't like. I want to sell it in this part, you know. Like I don't want to say like technical stuff here. We'll say using mostly HTML. That works, right? Using mostly HTML. No. We'll say okay. Using HTML. Uh, using man attach. I don't know how to say this. Um, Maybe can we tab this in? How about attach advanced. Ooh, okay, I like it. I like it. Okay, should we put it on a new line? Maybe it works better on a single line. Okay, colon. Create user editable pages instantly. Um, I don't like the first part because it just restates the second part. Um, how about we just have it be the headline? How about just this? Create user editable pages instantly. No, using HTML data attributes. That's fine. It's like slightly technical, kind of sums up the whole framework, right? And enjoyable. I'm just gonna skip over that because it makes me panic. Like trying to like sum up the entire framework. Like if a user reads this line and they don't like it, they're just gonna leave. And it just makes me super sad. Because like if this isn't like super clear and an easy to use web app framework, create user editable pages instantly using HTML data attributes. I would be intrigued by that. I'm gonna leave it. Sounds easier. HTML. Yeah. But I feel like again that's too common. That's like every framework ever. You know, it doesn't differentiate it. But maybe I don't need to differentiate it at this point. I guess if we said using only HTML, should I uppercase HTML? I think so, right? Using only HTML templates. I like that. That's good. Okay, cool. An enjoyable, that's much better. I really appreciate that. Okay, so an enjoyable uh, user editable just means that your users can edit the pages. What do you mean? What does that mean? Chandu, come on, keep up. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just teasing you. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it could that maybe that could be clearer. Chandu, create. I don't know. I feel like it's pretty clear because we don't want to just say editable because then it's like, well, am I just editing these in a text editor? Like, I feel like user editable is like you have users. It's a web app. They're logging in and they're editing the pages. Um, but I don't know. Maybe we can make it clearer. Okay, an enjoyable. I'm pretty happy with the first line though. An enjoyable development experience. What did we say in the first version? Enjoyable because of how easy it is to learn and build with. Yeah, let's say because of how easy it is to learn. It's not it's not as easy as I would like it to be to learn yet. However, I think it's easier than a lot of other frameworks, even now, even in this kind of early stage. But who knows? Maybe I'll be proven false on that, and I'll have to change that heading. Okay, great for your users. Be, um, great for you, or how about we just say like pages load quickly. Editing controls are pages load quickly. How about like every page loads quickly, and I don't know what should I say. So it's great for your users because it's server rendered, which means the people are going to be able to find it. They're going to be able to load it quickly, and I don't know. It's gonna. I mean, compared to like React, I think it's gonna like have a first. Oh, that's the time to first response or something. Time to first render or something. React. I forget what it's called. Uh, First time load. Um, I don't know. It's not really fair to like compare it to like another framework, to be honest, because like another front end framework because it is a front end framework, but it relies a lot on the server rendered. But I don't know. I guess it kind of is fair. Um, every page will load quickly and be easy to use for your users. Yeah. I'll say we should just have like an extra point here. Just be like no React lifecycle. I don't know if you were saying React lifecycle as a good thing or a bad thing, but I'm going to interpret that as a good thing. Um, uh, I think 3 points is pretty good though, right? I did want to mention something more like comparing it to like other frameworks, but this is not bad. Okay, Remake, an easy to use web app framework. Oh, you thought I was Googling for that. No, I was Googling. So, like, a lot of front end frameworks, because if they're naively implemented, you're not using code splitting, stuff like that, you're loading like a 500 kilobyte JavaScript file. And then that's not even including like your pages and your components. So then you're loading like your pages and components. You're loading like 1.2 megabytes of data, which is like half of a song, right? That's like half of a pretty high quality MP3. You're loading that every time, like the first time someone loads your page. Create content editable pages using only HTML templates. False. No. Horrible. I hate it. No, sorry. This is Sullivan. You are my favorite. Please don't be mad. Um, so I can't use content editable because that's an HTML attribute, and I don't use that in the framework, and I don't want to give the impression that I do. But it's pretty good. Um, can you guys hear the ambulance in the background? That was pretty loud. Create editable content pages. No, but then that, okay, but so content page implies that it's like a content website. So like it's like the New York Times is a content website. The BBC is a content website, right? So if you read content pages, you might be thinking, oh, this framework's for, authors and journalists and, people and like people creating blogs. But it's actually not for that at all. Create editable pages. Yeah, not user editable. I feel like user editable kind of captures a lot because it's like you have a user system, people can log in, people can sign up, people can have their own data, and people can edit stuff. It really like compresses a lot into one little thing, right? Don't you kind of think? Maybe a little bit. I don't know. Yeah, it is. But I really, so my whole life, I've always believed that if you're like trying to make a point, you should like use three examples. Um, you should say like three things. And I feel like these are pretty much the three things I want to mention. I don't know, maybe not. I could change them up. But I could get rid of this one. Every page loads quickly. It could be its own line, but I feel like I don't know. Even though the user account stuff is taken care of by the full stack framework, it's not really like the thing, right? Like someone could build like an Express.js starter project and add Passport.js to it, and that's not like gonna be super popular. That's not gonna succeed, right? I mean, I've looked for it enough. I would love to have something like that, but um, I don't know. Create create editable pages. Okay. So so Sullivan, you do think that user editable sounds a little bit uh, it doesn't need to be in the first line. Wait, what? Oh, okay. Well, okay, let's try this. Create editable pages using instantly. Wait, do you not like the instantly? You don't like the instantly. Okay. Okay, I like it. It's succinct. But you can't edit the pages without the auth. You need to be assigned in as a user in order to edit a page. But I do like this better. I think this is stronger. Create editable pages using only HTML templates. Okay. An enjoyable development experience because of how easy it is to learn. I feel like this is like whatever. I feel like I could just say like easy to learn like syntax. I don't know. I don't actually believe this. I feel like if I was like learning Remake for the first time, I would be like, what the heck is the syntax? Like this is crazy, crazy ass syntax. Not like super crazy, but I feel like it is a decent amount to learn. Like there are like, let's say 8 different attributes, maybe not 8. Maybe, yeah, probably around 8. Probably around 8 different attributes you need to know. Hey, Drawn to Learn, how's it going? Um, how about like easy to learn data attribute syntax? What do you think about that? Too technical? How about like easy to learn, powerful? data attribute syntax, data attribute syntax. This is kind of good, right? I don't know. It's a little technical. And I don't actually know if I need the dash here. Nope, I do not need the dash. I could even do like data dash star. Oh, I can't do that. Oh, there we go. Maybe mention something about being good for rapid prototyping of ideas. I do like that. Maybe not this one. I don't know. What do you guys think about this? I don't know about this either. This doesn't feel right to have here. But I feel like, okay, so it's based on a server rendered stack, and the idea is that on pages where you're just viewing the page, you don't have to load the front end framework at all. So do you guys feel like I should mention that somewhere, right? I should probably mention that relatively towards the top. I guess it doesn't have to be in the selling points, but I feel like I should mention that it's a server rendered web application stack, because I feel like that's so unusual these days, right? An easy to use web app framework. Should I say like an easy to use server rendered web app framework? That's awful. That makes it sound so much worse than it is. Okay, we'll just say an easy to use web app framework. Create editable pages using only HTML templates. Easy to learn. Powerful data attribute syntax. I kind of do like that. Something about it being good for rapid prototyping. I do like that, and I like that better than this one. Perfect for rapidly prototyping ideas. Ooh, that looks clean and clear, huh? Doesn't it? Remake, an easy-to-use web app framework. How about the easy-to-use web app framework? No, that's too much. Okay, an easy-to-use web app framework. Create editable pages using only HTML templates. Easy to learn, powerful data attribute syntax, perfect for rapidly prototyping ideas. I like it. Easy to. There should definitely be another version of this that just uses like what does this speak? Is this like the lolcat speak? No, but really, is it? I feel like lolcats language. Lol code. Oh no, not low code. Lol. Here we go. Lolcat translator. Here we go. Create editable pages. Wait, see, we could do this. Let's see, what else would we do? Can they convert this? We could do this. Oh, that's a good one. Yeah. But I think I'm going to stick with more standard approach. Okay, so I like this part. Get started. I feel like this is pretty good. Maybe here. Editing the starter templates in edit files. Oh, thank you for following Learn D3V. I really appreciate it. Uh, so what about this point 4 here? Should I say edit the starter templates? I don't know. I feel like maybe not. I feel like just get started is better, even though it's less direct. Oh no, I went back there. Start building a web app with Remake. I feel like that's better. It's like less clear about like exactly what you should do, but yeah, it's like you probably know, right? You just generated a project, so you probably know you should go into the project directory. Um, okay, what is Remake? Um, Remake is everything you need to create a web app in record time with very little overhead. Remake provides all the tools you need to instantly add CRUD operations to your page. I feel like I should search for CRUD and link to the first page. Code Academy or Wikipedia? Probably Wikipedia, probably has a longer stay than Code Academy. Um, CRUD operations. To your page, have all your pages data autosave after it's been edited. Store your data in a format that's easy to access and understand. Out of the box, Remake comes with user accounts. People can sign up and log into your app. Flat file DB. Say database. No need to install, configure, or host a database. Simple data handling. Each user's data is stored in a single. I don't like this one. Creating custom, or we'll say like, geez, how do I say this? Simple data handling. We'll say like accessing and saving nested objects is easy. I don't know. I'll come back to that one, but that's as good as I can get for now. If you know how to build a website with, if you know how to build a website with HTML and know the basics of a templating library, you can build a web app with Remake. And know the basics of templating. And know the basics of, we'll say, handlebars.js, because that's pretty explicit. And let's link to their site. Okay. Okay. If you know how to build a website with HTML and CSS and know the basics of handlebars, how do they describe themselves? Semantic templating. Minimal templating on steroids. Of handlebars. Let's say handlebars templating. You can build a web app with Remake. How does it work? Okay, so here's where I start getting in a little bit of trouble because I just kind of go off on a tangent right here. So I feel like I should have a simpler how does it work section. And then I don't know, I don't want to say like under the hood, but I want to say like um, I don't know. I don't know what I say here. Um, get to know. Yeah, I agree with that definitely. Um, get to know how how the data works. How does it work? Remake is based around a simple idea. What if every HTML page knew how to save, edit, and add new items to itself? Um, uh, Remake uses simple data attributes, um, starting with data dash I or data dash O for attributes that contain that output data, and simple data attributes, and starting with data I for attributes that input data. Um, remake auto, or we'll say remake using a simple data attribute. You can make the data on your page editable. We'll put data I editable. The data on, we'll say an element editable. And have it auto save to the database. And using another simple data attribute, data I new, you can easily render back-end templates. We'll say partial templates. I don't know if that's a good thing to say, partial templates, and add them to the page. I don't know. Whatever. That's fine for now. It's like a quick explanation. I feel like I might even have a better explanation like in the original docs. With Remake, data is supposed to feel like a natural extension of the DOM. It's as if someone designed HTML from the ground up with some tools for handling, responding to, and inserting data. Is that better than... I feel like this is a little bit more concise. Yeah, and I don't think we need these ones for the people just getting started to know these ones. Okay, and this is not necessary either. I like really simplified this framework over the last several months. I'm kind of happy about that. Okay, so let's save this. Okay, so we need some examples. Someone pointed out. So the problem with having examples is that none of the examples are working right now except for the to-dos. But I guess, yeah, I could make a GIF. I could make a GIF of the to-dos app and like adding a to-do or adding a to-do item or a to-do list and removing items. Let's see. Yeah, I feel like maybe I'll do like a simple GIF of like this and just like click to edit, like click to remove, click to uncheck, and click to add a to do. I feel like that would be good. And then I could say like the starter to dos app. Okay, so let's do that. And do you think we should include the header too? Like this area too? Maybe that would be nice, right? Yeah, let's do all of that. So let's go into, not Loom. Let's go into Cloud App. And let's do a GIF capture. And let's do this here. I think this is just capturing the right area. I will answer that right after I do this. So I'm going to edit an item, uncheck an item, add a to do, and then I'll be done. Okay. And what am I going to edit it to? We'll say like, I don't know, go to Alpha Centauri? No. Um, we'll say build a spaceship. Okay. There we go. Okay, we'll uncheck this. We'll add a to do. And we're going to remove a to do. And we're done. Okie dokie. Let's go see if we can get the link. Let's see. Okay, not too bad. Not too bad. Exactly what I'm going for, you know? Not too bad. No, I think it's pretty nice. So I'll say like to-dos example. And I think we should host that somewhere. So let me go to S3. And I'm going to upload it to S3. Let's see. I'm going to, before I open 1Password, I'm going to set up a secret. So that I don't reveal all of my passwords again. Oh no. Oh, okay. I was like, oh no, my password didn't work, but I was just signing in with the wrong account. Okay, got S3. Okay, unhide the screen. Twitch just lost its mind. What happened? Okay, so let's create a new bucket. And let's say, what is this bucket going to be called? I think this is going to be called Remake Website. Okay. Whatever. This is fine. Block all public access. No, thank you. Next. Hopefully I'm not giving away anything too secret here. We'll go into Remake website. We're going to upload this one. To-dos example upload. I'm going to click on it. We're going to make public. And we're going to get the URL. Oops. Get the URL. Okay, great. So now we should be able to include this in our documentation. Where do you think I should put it? Oh man, that's weird. Yeah, they probably don't pay that much attention to the desktop app. Okay, what is a remake? So maybe, should I put it at the top, like right below the first part? Um, maybe like right here. How do I do this again? Is it like this? I forget, I think it's an exclamation point, right? Um, let's see. Sullivan, welcome to the chat. Um, how's it going? Did you just rejoin? Okay, Markdown. I wonder if I say Markdown syntax, if Google will show it to me inline. How do they not show it to me inline? That's crazy. Isn't that crazy? Images. Oh, it's kicking you? That stinks. Is there anything I can do? Uh, huh. Okay. What do you guys think about this? Is that okay? Putting it up there, and then I can put a link under this and be like, uh, oh, I can just put a note. I think we'll say like the starter project that's generated after running remake create. We'll say the starter to-dos project. Okay, nice. That's not too bad, right? Um, and then I have some data examples. Let's see. So going back to the original. Ice cream codes, welcome to the chat. What's up? How's it going? How's life? Um, do you guys think I should have the early alpha release thing here? Maybe I say this is a beta release. I don't know. Should I have that? I should have that, right? How do I do super markdown superscript? Superscript? Sup. Okay. Maybe this will work. No. I don't know. Maybe I'll put it under here maybe. Oh, that's things are on a delay. Life is good. Today is busy, but Friday, looking to be a good, fun family weekend. Ooh, that's awesome. So all is good. What are you doing for your family weekend? Okay, so boop, 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 boop. Maybe we say this is a beta release. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so public roadmap. Get started. What is remake? How does it work? Maybe at the bottom, I put in like want to know more? Find out more. Say contact the author on Twitter. There's a big urban art festival. Ooh, thank you for following, Shamaroth. So Ice Cream Code says there's a big urban art festival going on this weekend where I live. and we got a couple hikes, walks planned, and the daughter has some ballet classes. That's awesome. That sounds super fun. Um, that sounds super fun. Yeah, I haven't been hiking in a while, but I feel like it would be good for me to do that. Okay. So you can contact the author on Twitter. You can view the public roadmap. And we'll link here. I guess we'll just make these all just links like this. Oops. Yeah. Okie dokie. Okay. View the public roadmap. View a live production app. This is a tiny bit misleading because it's using a slightly different, well, not slightly different, a pretty different version of Remake. But I don't know. That's fine. The plan is eventually to convert this over. Ooh, awesome. Thank you for the host, Shemarath. I really appreciate that. Shemarath, what do you stream about? Okay, so we've got the try the examples to do app. Get it running locally. Read through the annotated source code. Okay. Let's see. You're making a copy of the desktop using JavaScript. Whoa, that's awesome. That's super cool. What's your project called? Can you link to it? Okay, so we have get started, then we have what is remake. So I think right after what is remake, we're gonna say like quick start. Maybe a quick start resources. I don't know, because I don't have a quick start yet. I do want to have a quick start really soon. Let's check this out. So it's in the early stages, recreating the desktop with JavaScript. Huh. That's awesome. How are you doing the layout? Command prompt works. Okay, so you're using HTML. Oh, you can double click. Okay, that makes sense. Of course you would double click. Can I can't drag things into the recycle bin? Can I write things in here? No. So what can I write in here? Ooh. I can't autocomplete. Oops, forgot. Oh, now I can't see it. If I go too low, I can't see the input anywhere. Hey, Android. No, you didn't miss too much. We've been working on documentation. So I can't, yeah, I can't resize this either. Can I clear this? No. How about if I open up again? Okay. So let's do this. Ooh, I can clear it. Nice. Oops. This is awesome though. Huh. What does shout do? Ooh. Haha, that's awesome. Oh yeah. Okay, so maybe you're escaping it? Or how would I do that? No. How would you break out of an alert? So if your code is like alert message, can I break out of that? I don't even know. I don't know how to break out of that. I was trying to like get it to like run JavaScript code. Um, this is really cool though. The Windows registry. This is nice. There's a so this is like a what do you call it? A spreadsheet. Have you ever heard? Have you ever seen the like 100 in 100 lines? Something like this. Yeah, there are like some really tiny spreadsheet implementations, but like this one's really cool. I saw this a while ago. It's under 30 lines of JavaScript, of vanilla JavaScript, no libraries used, Excel-like syntax, formulas start with an equals, support for arbitrary expressions, circular reference protection, and automatic local storage persistence. It's kind of cool. But they do use eval. Okay, cool. So let's see, what's next? That's a really cool project though. Very, very, very cool. It's a great way to learn too. So quick start resources. We're going to say read through the annotated source code for a simple to-dos app. Then we're going to have, that's awesome. That's really cool. Read through the quick reference sheet. I think we're going to shorten this. So we're going to just say annotated source code for a simple to-dos app. Quick reference sheet. Remake API or remake data attribute quick reference sheet and 30-minute tutorial on how to build a Trello clone. Okay, cool, cool, cool. Message me, sign up. Oh yeah. Let's put this down here too. Um, let's put this here. Stay in the loop. Sure. Sign up for the newsletter to get updates as this framework develops. Okay, nice. And I think we're going to split some stuff out into a different file. Um, I don't know, maybe not. Yeah, this is pretty decent. I don't know. I'm okay with that for now, actually. That's good. I think that's excellent that you haven't tried any frameworks yet. I think it's really important to just like learn the basics before you you explore a framework because all of the problem like you're not even going to realize what a framework's solving for you or like what it's doing for you or like if there's another way of doing it if you don't play around with vanilla JavaScript first. So I think that's really cool that you're doing that. Okay, so now the new README we have is a lot better than the current README, I think. So let's go to Remake, uh, and let's discard this and say like update README. That's fine. We'll push that out, and let's look on GitHub. And let's go to Panphora Remake. Okay. An easy to use web app framework, create editable pages. This doesn't look exactly how I thought it was going to look. I think I need maybe an image up here. That's not bad though. That's not bad. A different way to build web apps. RemakeTheWeb.com. An easy to use web app framework. Create editable pages using only HTML templates. Easy to learn, powerful data attribute syntax. Perfect for rapidly prototyping ideas. This is a beta release. Maybe I put this higher. I think I put this up here. And then I think I make this smaller. I think I make this half its size. So let's look here. The width is 495. Let's do 495 divided by 2 is 247. So let's do 247. Oops. With 247. I don't know if this will work. Commit, push, 1, 2, 3, done. It doesn't look great. Oh, and it's linked too. Why is it linked? I wonder if I can like float this to the right. Let's see. I'm just curious about how much like GitHub supports in their Markdown and how much they don't. 1, 2, 3, done. Commit. It didn't go through with the float to the right. Max width. No. They stripped out the style tag. I don't know. I don't love it. I liked it better before, where it didn't even have the width. And I think it should, the example project should be after here. Okay, let's see what that looks like. 1, 2, 3, refresh. Okay, so now we have remake. This is an beta release. This is we could say an early beta release. An easy to use web app framework. You know what we could do? I think we can do this. H1, small. Let's try this. Okay, so now I'm expecting it to be next to this. Oh, and it didn't work. Is it using the small tag? Nope. I don't really like having this line here in general. Even though it is an early release, I don't know. Whatever. I'm gonna just get rid of it for now. Okay. An easy to use web app framework. Create editable pages using only HTML templates. Easy to learn, powerful data attribute syntax. Perfect for rapidly prototyping ideas. Get started. Install the command line tool. Create a new project. Run the development server. Start building a web app with Remake. And you can see like an example. Removing items. Editing items. An example of editing, adding and removing items with the starter to-dos project. Okay. There we go. Update that, push that out. Okay. So maybe this needs a heading too, actually. Oh, geez. Okay, so let's put in maybe like an example. An example application. Example application. Web app. Okay. Commit and push. Okay. I feel like I need the logo here somewhere. But that's okay for now. Okay. An example. Starter to-dos. Maybe we'll say that. I'll say the starter project. I don't know. I'll just say example maybe. Yeah, okay, fine. We'll just go with example. Okay, I know this is probably a little bit boring, but I just wanted to get the documentation updated for the latest version. Okay, so that looks pretty good. It would be nice, I think, to have a border around this maybe. Um, let's see, like GitHub Markdown tips. Let's try this one. Hmm. Okay, looks like we don't have like a lot of advanced styling options with Markdown. Um, maybe I bold this part. Yeah. Okay, everything you need. Okay, that's bolded. Um, quick start resources. How does it work? Yeah, this isn't like the best README yet. I do still need a lot of work on this, but it's not bad. It's a lot better than it was, and it succinctly describes the framework, I think, and I think we'll get there. You know, as I develop this, or as we develop this, I think it'll get there. Okay, so I want to start building out some new features. Um, building, or close this. Hmm. Yeah, let's here, I'm gonna do one thing before I finish with this. I also have this. Hmm. Ay, ay, ay. I feel like that's stronger actually. But I mean, obviously I'd have to change this example. Yeah, let's improve the framework first because I feel like that's gonna be the number one thing. Because it's gonna make it easier to get started with. Okay, so the thing I've been thinking about is right now, if you go into the framework, um, so yeah, I did this one. So right now, if you go into the to-dos app and you open up the uh, like one of the pages, so let's say the index page, this is the basic overall structure of the page. It has one, two, three, 4, 5 elements on it, and then one more in here, which is the to-do list, and that has a few elements in it too, and those each have, or wait, no, that's not the to-do list. This one has 3. So in total, we have 6 elements to create like a basic to-do list kind of app. And up here, we have an attribute that might be a little confusing to some people. It's data o save deep default save. Now, why do we have it there? Well, it's responsible for saving all of the data beneath itself into a nested structure and passing it to a function called default save. the default save function is defined by default, as its name implies, and so you don't need to really worry about it. It'll just save the data to that object. And it also has this alternate syntax where you can pass an ID in there. So if the current element has an ID, you can pass it in like this, and you can be like, current item, something like this, ID, right? And then you can just save to that ID, and the default save will once again just handle that for you automatically. However, in my opinion, the user really doesn't need to know how or why or when the data is being saved, as long as it's consistently being saved every time they click a save button, right? So what I'm thinking is, why don't we just get rid of this attribute? That'll make it easier to understand the framework, and we can just save the page whenever the user changes it. And if they change it under an ID, like a unique ID, we can save to that ID automatically. Even though we're not specifying that we want to save to that ID, we'll just automatically save to it. And then, sorry, got distracted for a second. And then, if someone wants to use the save attribute, they can, right? So here's my proposal. So removing the save attribute, or we'll just say not requiring the save attribute. So the idea here is that we, what are we going to do? Not requiring the save attribute. So we're going to say by default, no, sorry. Yeah, so if there's no save attribute on the page, or we'll say above the current element, save to either the closest ID or the entire page. I don't know how to say this succinctly. I'm actually gonna go for a second. I will be right back, just in like a minute. Okay, I am back. Okay, let's see. So we're not going to require a save attribute by default, which means we're going to save to. Thank you, Android. How are you doing? So we're not requiring the save attribute. So that means we're either by default we're going to save to the closest um, save to the ID of the closest element with an ID on it. So we'll say by default, geez, how do I specify this? We're going to save to the ID of the closest element with an ID on it. Or we're going to, or if none is found, save to the overall app data. um, and I think we're only going to do this if no save attribute is found above the current element. We'll say only do this if no save attribute is found. What sounds easier than doing it? Only do this if no save attribute is found above the current element. Sorry, I missed that. I'm sure that was funny. I was just distracted. I like literally don't remember what I said. Okay, so let's see. So by default, we're going to save to the ID of the closest element with an ID on it, or if none is found, we're going to save to the overall app data, and only do this if no save to the ID of the closest element with an ID on it, or if none is found, save to the overall app data. Sounds easier than doing it? What do you mean? Sounds easier than doing it. Save to the ID. Oh, are you saying that it sounds easy and it's going to be complicated to do, but you're being sarcastic and you think it sounds really complicated? Um, it is a little. It's not super complicated. Oh yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm kind of hopeful that it won't be too hard, but yeah, you might be right. You might be right. Okay, so we're going to save to the ID of the closest element with an ID on it, or if none is found, save to the overall app data, and only do this if no save attribute is found uh, on the current page above the currently saving element. Okay, so let's see if that's in line with what I wrote down. Brainstorm, new save behavior. Don't require save attribute at all. If no save attribute or no data O key ID is found, save the entire page. However, if a data O key ID is found, save to that ID. Question, how does that work with editable popovers? How are the editable poppers excluded from this? Okay, yep. So I made a data O ignore for that, so it can be ignored. Look for the closest data O save, data O deep, and or data O key ID attribute. If none is found, pass all data to default save. If a data O key ID attribute is found, check the same element for a data O save or data O save deep attribute. If found, save using the data O save. Okay, so I specified a little bit differently in the original. I thought that if you have an ID right? Like, if you have an ID, it should save to that, even if there's a save um, attribute above it. You should still just save to the ID. And I don't know. I think I'm fine with that, but I think, yeah, I think that actually that might give you the most flexibility in general. But I'm not sure because I feel like if you have a save attribute on the page, it'd kind of be nice if everything just went into there no matter what. So this is actually an interesting question. So if you have some data, right? So let's say this is your we're gonna like just represent the DOM with like indented dashes. So this is like, the top level, and then this is like some nested button or whatever. And let's say you have the save attribute up here on the top level. And then let's say you have an item with an ID right here. And then you have some data right here, and you modify this data, right? So this is modified. Do you want to save to this ID, right? Because that would kind of make sense. This data is inside of this ID, so you would assume that it belongs to it. So you could just save to it. Or, since you have a save function defined on this page, are you assuming it's going to be passed to the save function? Now, even if we save to the ID, what we could do is also put a save function on here, right? So we could have the ID and the save. And we could default to the save attribute. Save to the ID. Well, okay, but so what about in this case where we have the ID attribute and the save attribute on the same element? I think I want to default to the save because I think otherwise there's no way to overwrite it. Right? Because I want people to have flexibility to like save to custom functions or custom endpoints if they want to, right? If they don't want to use Remake's default kind of stack or handling or whatever. So I think at least this is true. And then also you could just put like the save function on the same element, right? So if you wanted it to be totally custom, you could just put it here. Or you could make like an in-between element, right? And just nest this in there, and you put the save attribute there. So you have a lot of flexibility when it comes to this, but trying to keep it as simple as possible for as many people as possible. That's the goal of this framework. And I think for that, I think you're right. Saving to the ID makes sense. And then, but if they have a save attribute on the same element, save to that. And then the problem with this, the only problem I can see with this is what if you have some data down here? Okay, so what if your modified data is global data? Okay, so this is like a user preference. Now, why would you have a user preference nested deeply in your page? I don't know, but I've run into that problem before, where, you're in some kind of thing and maybe you want to set a preference and then you want to set it as a global preference, right? But you're inside of like, a nested element. So how would you do that? Well, you could just put the save function on here, the save attribute on here, like we were just saying. That would work. And you can have a custom save function for that. That would work. Yeah, I feel like that works actually in every case. Okay, so by default, yeah, so we're not going to do it the way that I just specified it. Save to the ID of the closest element with an ID on it. So, okay, by default, we're going to save to the closest element with with a save attribute or ID on it, prioritizing the save attribute. Community Showcase, welcome to the channel. Save to the closest element with a save attribute or ID on it, prioritizing the save attribute. Okay. If none is found, save to the overall app data. That's a pretty good way of stating it. Save behavior. Save to the closest element with a save attribute or ID on it. Prioritizing the save attribute. If none, if no save attribute or ID is found, save to the overall app data. That sounds a lot simpler, doesn't it? Okay, so here we go. Now we're going to go into the framework. We don't do this a lot because I wrote most of this framework before I started streaming. So this is actually exciting. It's time for the deep dive into the framework. Okay, so here we go. So let's go into client side, and then we got input.js, and then we've got sync data. So I just documented this this the other day. Now what sync data does is it's responsible for syncing data between the inline edit areas and the sometimes I see stuff in this code and I am curious about it, and then I'm like, no, don't look at that. It works. Just let it be. Just for now, you know? But I would actually like to do a tour of this code at some point. Okay, so anyways, so we sync data, and afterwards we call the after sync callbacks, and one of the after sync callbacks is defined where? I feel like enable. I just saw this other. Oh, it's this one. Enable save attribute. So after sync, then we call the save function. Okay, so this is where the save happens. This is where every time we're saving the page, it all goes through here. All saves go through here. I'm typing it in part because I want it to be true. So I'm not positive, but I would imagine this is probably true. Because this is the onSave like handler, and we have get save function info. Doesn't sound like it saves anything. We have enable save attribute. Yeah, so it sounds like that's right. Call save function. Okay. And I was just in here this morning because I was adding this log data on save option. So that actually might need to change too. But for now, let's not worry about that. So the first thing we do is we allow two different params that do the same thing to be passed into this function. Use element data was synced into when syncing. Use target element when creating new data, when creating or removing data. Okay, that makes sense. So the function takes two arguments, but they're the exact same thing, and they're just set to each other, and then we just use element data was synced into. Then we get the save element. So the save element is going to be the closest data O save deep or data O save. Okay. And then once we have the save element, we're going to say, does it match the deep one or does it match the shallow one? And then we're going to get the save info, which will give us the save function name, the save path, and the save ID, the ID that we want to save to. Then we're going to get the save function by looking up the save function. Then if we have a save function, we're going to get the data from the save element. Okay. And we're going to call the save function with the data we got from the save element. The element that the data was synced into, which is what we passed in up here, and the path and the ID. And boom, that's it. Okay, so let's document this. So get the save element, which is the closest element with a save attribute. Uh, Chandu, have a very, very nice night. Yeah, I might stream tomorrow. Who knows? But probably not. But I'll see you next week on Thursday or Friday. Um, I will think extra about streaming tomorrow. But yeah, either way, I hope you have a really nice weekend. See you later. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do is this a shallow or a deep save? Detect if this is okay, and then we get the save info. Bye, Chandu. We get the save function info, so that gives us the. That's pretty self-explanatory. And we'll say like if, or we'll say like get all the info we need to save this data. If there's a save function, continue. I don't know if I need to write this part, but whatever. Data from save element. Okay, so we use two different functions to get that data. And then we call the save function using that data. So we'll say get the data differently depending on if it's a shallow or deep save. And then we'll just say save the data. And we'll say like log the data if this debug option is turned on. Okay, cool. So now that's documented, so it's a lot easier to just kind of go through it and understand. So now the first thing we want to do, I know I'm going to break something. I'm going to have to break something, aren't I? Okay, so the first thing I want to do is I think add another thing here to find. So we're going to say data O key ID. And so that'll match a unique ID. And since we're using the closest method on the element, on this element, we're going to find one of these. Like one of the closest one that matches one of these selectors. So right now this save element could match any one of these, right? So it could match this one, it could match this one, or it could match this one. Now, if the save element is not found, so this is the first thing we want to do. We want to say, if you're not found at all, we're just going to save the entire page. So actually, let's not put an else down here. Let's use the same kind of flow that we have up here. So the first thing we're going to say is if there's no save function, or sorry, wait, not no save function. If there's no, oh man, what am I doing? We're supposed to be up here. Okay. If there's no save element, okay, so let's say this. If there's no save element, use the body. Okay, so we're going to say no save element. We do have a save element. The save element is equal to document body. So we're just going to save the whole page. It's a little dangerous, to be honest, because I think beginners especially, they might be meaning to save to a certain location, and they might forget the ID, specifying the ID, and then they're going to end up maybe overwriting some of their app data. But whatever. Oh well. I feel like this is going to make it a lot easier to get started, though, so I think let's just go with it. So if there's no save element, use the body element. Okay, so now we've got the save element. Okay, now here's the thing. Yeah, exactly. It's not a bug, it's a feature. Um, yeah. I mean, if you have auto saving as part of your framework, I feel like that's just hard to do intelligently, you know? Like no matter what. Um, but we have a good foundation. And I don't know, maybe we like auto add IDs to elements in the future. I have no idea how we would do that, but if we could do that, then there would be nothing to worry about because everything would just get IDs and it would just save to its ID and everyone would be happy and then no mistakes would ever be made in the world ever again. Um, okay, so um, we have save element and so we is data inside the element. We're going to match that, right? Because so remember up here we're like detecting if we match one of these, but now we added on this extra thing. So now we want to say this one. We want to say either. So if it's an ID, we're also going to save deep. Um, okay, cool. So is data inside element? We got that. Now the save function, the save path, and the save to ID, that is not going to be very good for us because our save element is the body, and this doesn't have an attribute on it, right? Because we've already checked to see. So it definitely doesn't have it. We didn't find any save element, right? Oh my goodness, those are so many things to think about at the same time. I just realized that I'm doing two things at the same time, which is never good. Humans, or at least me as a human, cannot do two things at once at the same time. I shouldn't say humans in general. I hope there's someone out there with like a split brain that just having the time of their lives programming. Um, okay, but let's see. So yeah, because we're trying to support if there's no save element, but also if the save element happens to be something with this on it. Okay, so yep. Okay, cool. Um, okay, so here, I think I can just plow ahead with this. I never feel good after saying that though, because it always feels like I'm being too reckless. Is data inside? I feel like this is fine. We're fine up to this point. I do think I want to know a couple things at uh, at this point. Yeah, so I'm gonna say else here, and um, I'm gonna say let. What do we have here? We want to know um, is using uh, oh geez. Okay, is using ID attribute. Okay, and we're gonna say false by default. Um, and and we'll say is saving to um, we'll say data key ID. Yeah, that's fine. That's pretty explicit. I feel like, we're saving to this, right? So is saving to data key ID. I don't know, maybe we need attribute. Um, let's see, maybe is defaulting to data key ID save. Man, whatever. This is awful. Is defaulting to data key ID save. It's the worst thing I've ever done. Whatever. Well, let's just go with it. Okay, so false. And we're going to also have is defaulting. Yeah, I know, right? Um, is defaulting to global save? Yeah, we'll say global save and false. Okay, so in here, we're going to say, yep, we're defaulting to the global save. And in here, we're going to say yes to this, but we don't know this yet, actually. We only know this if I wish I was that adventurous. Not really, but yeah. I don't know. It wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Okay, so let's see. Is defaulting to global save, is defaulting to data key ID save. But we don't know this yet because we don't know. We need to know two things. We need to know one, that save, so we know we have save element here, right? Because this is the else if. So we need to know that it matches this one. So it matches this selector, and it doesn't match the other selector. Very complicated logic. Okay, so that's defaulting to data key ID save, because like we said, if the save element that we find has a save attribute on it, we're going to save to that save attribute. So we're not even going to worry about the ID thing, even if there is a data OK ID on it. Okay, cool. And for the global save, for the one where we're using the document body to save, that's if we don't find a save element. Okay, so good. We're good to go to the next step, right? So we have this one and this one. Oops, I almost overwrote that. Okay, we have two very useful flags. Okay, so is data inside element? So we could actually, I don't know, this is fine. I'm okay with this. I'm okay with that part. Okay, so then we need to get all the info we need to save for this data, to save all the info we need to save this data. Okay, so this is where we run into a few problems. So do we run into problems with body? We do. And we run into problems with this one too. Okay, so I think, okay, so what we need to do is we need to define these things, right? So let's define them up here. And then let's say if you're not defaulting to this and you're not defaulting, no. Let's say if you are defaulting. If you are defaulting to the global save, else if you are defaulting to the data key ID save, else you're doing the regular thing. So this is the regular thing. And I don't know if this works. Does anyone know? This has to work, right? So this is just a way of assigning global variables, right? You don't need the let or the var in front of it, right? To destructure that. Yeah, that wouldn't make sense. And we're defining them up here, so they are namespace. We just can't use let twice. Okay. So now we're getting this. So defaulting to global save, we're going to set the save function name to default save. Okay, so let's, I don't know, we could destructure these again up here. I don't even know if this is not great, but whatever. We'll just say default save, save path we don't need, and save to ID we don't need. So actually all we have to do is just do save function name is equal to default save. Okay, boom. And then is defaulting to data key ID save. So in this case, we need the save function name to again be default save. And we need save to ID to be save element get attribute why, oh geez. Okay, I guess I'll trust this. I never trust my spelling, even when it looks exactly like it should. I just always like to copy and paste. Okay, so get attribute data O key ID. Okay, cool. So we got the save to ID. We could strip that, but that's fine. We don't need to do that. Okay, so save to ID. So I think we should have everything now. So now we get the save function by looking it up, and we're going to get it for these ones because we know we have default save defined. If there's a save function, continue. Get the data differently depending on if it's a shallow or deep save. Okay, I like it. Is data inside element, if it matches one of these. Oh, okay. This isn't going to work. So let's just have this be this or this, and then or save element matches, right? So that covers all our cases there. So the data is inside the element. If we're defaulting to a global save, we're defaulting to a data key ID save, or if the save element matches data OC deep. Oh my goodness, I never thought I would write code this complicated, and it's not even that complicated, but it feels kind of complicated. Okay, so, and we have this save function. Data from save element. Okay, so now we know to get the deep version or to get the shallow version. And then we call the save function, passing in the data that we get. What is this set to? Element data was synced into. Save element. Save element. Oh, shoot. Why do I need that? Ugh. Element. Oh, okay. I guess that's fine. Yeah, because we're going to have that. We're fine. Okay, and then path, and then save to ID. And the save to ID, just to make sure, yep, is going to be set to that. Okay, cool. Save to function, save to ID. And then we're going to log the data. The data is going to be that, that, and that. Woohoo! Okay, that might work, maybe. Let's see. Console log, and we're going to have save method too. I want to see the save method. So what are our save methods? So we're going to say like saved to nearest ID, saved entire page or used save function, and then the function name. Or saved to save function name. Nearest and what should I say, like default or something? But they're both default. So I feel like I can't say, I could say like defaulted to. We could just say this. That's fine. Okay, so these are our three possibilities. So should we use a nested what do you call it, tertiary thing? I think that's fine. So let's say save method, and we're gonna say why don't we say okay, so we'll say is defaulting to global save, question mark. If it's true, we're gonna say this one. Otherwise, let's say nested ternary, that's the one. Operator JS formatting. I like found a cool way of formatting this that I think helps understand it better. Oh yeah, right here. I like this syntax. Kind of. Not like a ton. So we say like this, and then like that. And we do otherwise. Another condition. Hey, ASAA music, ASA music. How's it going? What are you working on? What are you interested in? ISA, ISA, or ASA music. Hey, ASA music. How are you doing? What are you working on? What do you like to do? So we'll do the next one is save to nearest ID. You make music. That's awesome. Do you make like electronic music, or do you make like, are you a traditional? Looking around at the games the Twitch community is coming up with. Oh, that's awesome. I didn't put game dev on my channel, did I? Sometimes it's right next to web development. But welcome. That's awesome. I really like game development. Are you like a music creator for games? to. You want to start, but usually for commercial. Okay, that's awesome. Um, have like commercial games or like commercial people? Like I mean like businesses. Either one's cool, but I'm just curious. Like Spotify artists. Oh, that's awesome. Um, have you heard of this site called Sound Better? It's pretty cool. It lets like anyone hire you as a musician to oh, you have a profile on there. That's awesome. I actually hired a musician on there for my wedding because I wanted to make a song for my wife. Do you get a lot of projects through there? Okay, so let's test out this new code. Let's save this and we're gonna do this. Oh, here's a good idea. So if we did save to an ID, we can say saved to nearest ID and then colon and then save to ID. And then we don't need this one. Or wait, no, we still do need it because you could explicitly save to an ID. Yeah, it's hard keeping track of all this. Oh, you haven't gotten anyone on there. That stinks. Um, yeah, I think it's probably a little bit crowded of a marketplace. Maybe there's a lot of people or something, and like not probably not a ton of you know people interested. Like yeah, I feel like it's probably an oversaturated market a little bit. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Okay, so here we saved this, saved to nearest ID. Yeah, I think that's what happens totally. Um, can you share like some of your music? Do you have any like public samples that you could link to? Um, yeah, that'd be cool. I'd love to hear it. Save method. Okay, that's fine. Save method, save to nearest ID, save to ID. Cool. Can you guys hear this? Oh, is it okay if I play this? Yeah, it's nice.
fall.
That's awesome. Thanks for the follow.
Falling into the dark.
Where did you, like, who are the vocals?
Past this every time. I've been waiting for this fall. They don't stop. They don't stop. So darling, hold on to me. It's hard to stay ahead sometimes. Don't let me fall from this high. Like it's don't let me fall.
That's awesome. That's a great job. Oh, you got a lot of remixes, huh? That's awesome.
Butterflies, late nights, your eyes are beaming. Terrified, blue light, what is this feeling? And I don't want
I love remixes. I used to just like spend so much time on SoundCloud, like listening to remixes constantly.
I don't want to be in love, but darling, my arms are open. I just want to mean something to you. I just want to mean something to you. I just want to mean something to you. I just want to mean something to you.
It's really important. I was listening to a podcast the other day. That's cool. That's awesome. I might want to like hire you at some point or work with you at some point. That'd be pretty cool. I was just listening to this podcast the other day where this guy was working on a startup with his partner, and what was the startup? I forget what they were doing. Okay, cool. Yeah, but anyways, these two guys were working on this company for like 10 years, and they built up this company from the ground, and they ended up deciding that they weren't growing fast enough because everyone around them was saying, you're not growing fast enough. So they pushed themselves to like take on a bunch of investment. They took on like $10 million of investment, and they drove themselves like crazy just trying to grow super, super fast. I remember, it was Wistia. It's a Wistia. It's like a Boston-based company. And they were like thinking about selling the company at some point, and they were thinking about what they would do next. And they were both not really feeling like into the startup at that point because they had been pushing themselves so hard to like raise money and to like make the team like perform and everything, and like to like really focus on growth above everything else. So they were really considering selling, and they were like, well, what would we do if we sold? You know, we made all this money, what would we try to do? And they ended up deciding that after all was said and done, after they got their money and they were able to like get a new team together and start working on an idea, they would probably want to recreate the company from like 3 years earlier. So like everything they were doing 3 years earlier, but just doing that. And they're like, what are we crazy? We're gonna sell this company because we tried to grow it super fast and we were enjoying what we were doing before. Why not just go back to doing that? And so then they just decided to scale things back, pay back the investors, and hey, S. Brutchman, how's it going? So they paid back their investors the $10 million or $20 million or whatever, and they were able to just go back to doing what they wanted to do day to day and like making up their own mind about what they were doing. And it just like brought a lot back for me because I was like, well, I focus on success so much and I focus on making money so much, but like if I'm already doing what I love, like who cares about that stuff, you know? Like, you don't want to get caught up in like a cycle like that takes 5 years out of your life and you don't even like it, you know? Yeah. So that'll keep me up at night. Yeah? Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll look into it. Which one would you recommend, actually? How I built this? Okay. Yeah, I'll listen to that. Okay, let's see. Hey Hardhouse, how's it going? Is the music too loud, you guys? Just curious. Like, can you hear my voice? A little bit. Yeah, it's a little, so like, I listen to like a lot of super mellow stuff. I mean, I think it was a good song. I just like, usually prefer, like if I'm searching for music, it's like chill wave, usually. That's awesome, dude. This is so cool. You have a cool name too. Asa. What was it again? Asay. Hmm. I, or ASA. ASA. Oh, okay, cool. That's awesome. Yeah, I think having the two A's at the end, it makes me want to emphasize that more. But that makes sense. Okay. So I think this is working. Kind of looks like it might be working. Oh, you know... Huh. Jeez. Okay. I'll try to remember that. I'm not great with names, but I'll try to remember. The S stands for Steven. Cool. Yeah, that makes sense. I like the ASA. I like ASAA. I really like the look of that. I think that's a really cool name. Okay, so I think I ran into a problem. Because I think what's gonna happen... So I'm trying to think through this. So if I... Let me just remove all of these. So if I remove all of these... Or actually I didn't need to do that. I don't know why I just did that. Let's just log out. And we're gonna sign up again. So we're gonna do like Jeremy. And we'll sign up. Okay, so I have this example data, this like starting data here. But what if I don't have any starting data? Let's try this. Okay, so now I don't have any data, and I should, if I go into the remake data, I shouldn't have any I do like your music, but I'm gonna stop it for now just so I can focus. So I'm gonna go into user app data, and I'm gonna go into Mary. Okay, so we have this top level object with just an ID. Yeah, absolutely. It was awesome. I really appreciate it. So now I think if I add a to-do... Oh, this should work actually. So let's try it. So I add this, and it saves the entire page because I added a new item and it triggers a save after that. And it triggers the save where? Let's see. So where am I going to find that? I'm going to find that in Remake, and then in client side, and then in input, and then in adding. Here, call save function on the list element. I call it on the list element. That's awesome. That's smart. Okay. So needs to be on the list element. Save needs to be called on the list element, not the item. so it doesn't, so it doesn't try to save to a non-existent. See ya, Asa. Have a great day and stop by anytime. To a non-existent ID. Okay, cool. So this work. It looks like it works. So we had this. We had this. We had this. We're saving the entire page. We go into this to do. We say personal to dos. That works. Work to dos and long term, or we'll just say other to dos. We're going here. We add a to do. We say get milk from the store. Feed the cat. And go for a walk. And we're going to go back, and we're going to go into, oh man, did this not save? Work to dos. Oh, whoa. We have a bug. Okay, so if I do work to dos here, save. We saved to this ID. Now I'm going to refresh. That's weird. Thank you. Are you heading out, Android? Or are you just saying happy bug hunting? I have no clue what's going on here. This is very fascinating. So, oh, they both have the same ID? That shouldn't be possible. Okay, let's look in our data. I mean, the data must match, right? Let's go into Remake data, Mary. Oh no. Oh no. This is a nightmare. This is gonna be fun though. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, no problem. No problem. The chat is meant for chatting. uh, so okay, what is going on here? I feel like I caused a bazillion bugs. Okay, so I kind of feel like in the back of my head like this should cause errors, but I'm also not happy about it, you know? Okay, so let's delete this data and just we'll put in like an empty object in here. And let's refresh. Let's add some to-do lists and then let's see what happens. Okay, so we're getting the same ID for all of these to-dos. And I feel like this was an old bug. I feel like this is an old bug I already fixed. Okay, but let's, I mean, whatever. I didn't fix it, so let's go fix it. And let's document this somewhere. Yep, exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's possible that I did fix it too, and that like I just, I don't know, didn't update the code or like am using slightly different code for some reason. I don't think that's it. I think I did fix this once, and maybe it's just popping up again because it's a different problem. But this is actually kind of fun to debug. Okay, so because we learned something new about the framework every time we do this. So we're adding a new item. We're not assigning an ID to it here. So this shouldn't affect it. And if we look at the network panel and we look at these new items and we look at the response, these should have the ID on them. Yep, so we got the ID right there. And we should have the same one here. Yep. And then let's look here. Boom, we got it again. So it's coming from the back end. So that's exciting. So let's go into the lib and we're going to go into API routes and we're going to go, I think it's probably because I'm caching something that I'm not supposed to be caching. Yep. Okay, so where do we render the partial? So here's the template string, and we're passing in data, params, query, path name, current item, parent item, current user, page author, is author, page has app data. Okay, so it should be, I think, inside, should be inside data, bootstrap data. Okay, so matching partial dot bootstrap data. So where's the matching partial? Okay, matching partial. Oh, ooh, it's because I moved this partials call outside of it. Oh my goodness. I thought I was being all cool, but really this needs to be called every time. So let's just make sure that this is true. So get partials comes from get info, get project info. Do I really want to get the partials every time? I feel like I don't, right? Because I have to I have to go through all these trouble. Project info. No, it's fine because it's just copying the partials object. That's all it's doing. It's pretty optimized already. So the issue is that I'm using the same matching partial object, and then look at this. So I go through here. Where do I loop through the partial? So I get the matching partial, and then I go through the bootstrap data, which shouldn't have any IDs on it. That's crazy to think that it would have IDs on it. And then if it's a plain object, I add an ID to it. So I think what I should just do is just delete this part. Yeah, and I think that'll fix it. So actually, I can still have the get partials at the top. Um, but there is something a little bit bad about that because if I modify, yeah, if I modify something, it's going to be the same object the next time. So I feel like I should get it every time. So let's get it every time. Um, get partials data every time. So it returns a copy of the data. Data. I did fix this before, but then I must have unfixed it by trying to be clever. So get the partials data every time. So it returns a new copied object. And you don't mistakenly use a modified object from the previous call. That's fine. That's a very clear explanation. Okay, so now let's refresh. Let's delete our data. I love deleting the data from the database because this is literally my database. This is my entire database. This is so fun. It's just like, oh, gone. And I guess I have to create a little object there, but that's fine. Okay, so now we create this, now we create this, now we create this. Now if we look on the elements on the page, we should have different IDs for each one. We do. and we can say personal to-dos, work to-dos, and other to-dos. And if we refresh, they work. If we're going to go into personal to-dos and we add get or walk to the store, or we'll just say like go to the store, I guess. That makes more sense. And we'll say go for a walk, and we'll say feed the cat. Okay, we'll go back, go into work to-dos. We're just testing it out to make sure everything works, and also just giving it some filler data. We'll say like comb hair, and oh wait, no, that's not a work to do. Work to do is sign the paperwork and talk or meeting with sales. Okay, and then we got other to-dos, and we're gonna say, what's like a fun like hobby that people will probably be able to do in 100 years? They will probably be able to explore Mars in virtual reality, and they will probably be able to go to a rock concert in Alaska in VR. Everything has to be in VR. Okay, cool. So let's go back, and this all seems like it works. Seems like it might work. Take the UFO to the garage. Play VR games on VR. I like that. I mean, is it a UFO if you own it? I guess you could have like shot down an alien spaceship, right? And it would still be a UFO because it would still be unidentified. Okay. What was it? Take the UFO or take the UFO to the garage. Okay, cool. So I think these do need headings, right? So let's add that there. So here, to-dos, yep. So here we want parent item dot name, I think. I think it's dot name, pretty sure. Nope, did not work. Okay, so do I have parent item? Let's log it and see what returns. 1, 2, 3, refresh, and go here. We do have a parent item, but that's not what we want. It's the current item. Okay, current item dot name. There we go, dot name. Okay, 1, 2, 3, refresh. Personal to-dos, go back. Nice. Now we have nicely named to-do lists. Okay, now the one other thing I do want to undo is in here. I want to undo this. Remake framework. And we're going to go here, and we're going to undo where we deleted a bunch of the starter data. There we go, here. Actually, why don't we use Mary's current data for this? We could just fill it in. So let's grab this, and let's go into here, and we're going to grab everywhere there's an ID, and we're going to delete those lines. Okay, nice, nice, nice. Good, 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 looking good. Okay, so now when we sign up as a new user, we should get all of that. So let's do Eric and sign up. And boom, we've got the personal to-dos, we've got the work to-dos, and we got other to-dos. Okie dokie, cool. So we're gonna say like added documentation. Have a good stream, Panphora. I've worked on my project and hope to show some early stuff to you in a week or two. That's awesome. Uh, Thank you for stopping by, Android. Really appreciate it. I might be on tomorrow, but otherwise I'll see you next week. Have a great weekend. Okay, so added docs. We'll say not requiring a save attribute by default. I don't even know if this is going to work, so maybe I don't push this to production quite yet. And making sure, okay, we'll just say a lot of improvements, right? And then we'll specify them down here. A lot of improvements. So not, we'll say feature, not requiring a save attribute by default. A version of it is used in production, but it has some custom implementations and a custom backend. But you can go to a website, a web app that I made called, that I'm actually trying to monetize right now, called requestcreative.com. And I use Remake for a lot of things there. But the part of the reason I'm working on this framework is I want to transition that site over to this framework, like the full stack framework, because I think it'll be a lot easier to manage that way. So yeah, I'm excited about that. Making sure partials are rendered with unique IDs. Added lots of documentation. And I think I improved the README. Sure. Push that out. I hope I didn't leave any console logs anywhere. I don't think I did. As I say that, I have these console logs. No, but these are actually a feature. Okay. Yeah, this looks good. So we got a big feature done today, which was this. This is super, super exciting because now you don't have to have this complicated data save attribute. You know, when you're using the framework, you don't even have to specify any save things. I'm not sure if it's totally 100% working yet. I would have to try it out with some like example apps. But for now, I think it's looking pretty good. So I'm pretty happy with it. Oh, and we improved the documentation massively. Like improved the like I don't know the GitHub like remake documentation slash and getting started guide a lot. Hardhouse says, what goes into a full stack framework? First time I've heard of it. So are you like familiar with web development like in general? Have you used any frameworks? Like, are you familiar with JavaScript or React or Vue.js, or should I like start from somewhere? Yeah, okay. So have you heard of like Rails? Have you heard of Django? because I feel like Rails, I think Ruby on Rails is a pretty, it's a pretty full stack framework. I mean, I guess they don't do a lot with the front end, but yeah, I guess if you combined Rails with what they recommend, which what do they recommend? They recommend the two front end libraries that they use with it. The one that preloads links, and then the one that, hey, Temesa, how's it going? Hey, Pace 2 or Pace 70, how's it going? What are you guys up to? Um, but Rails has two front-end libraries. I want to look this up. Basecamp, open source. Oh no, I don't want an open source version of Remake. Sorry, of Basecamp. Open source libraries. Open source. Here we go. It's going pretty good. I'm pretty exciting. A turbo links and stimulus. So if you used Rails with turbo links and with stimulus, I think you that would be a pretty full stack framework. I think also Meteor. Meteor is a really good example of a full stack framework. I actually used Meteor for a few years, and I built my first company using Meteor. Um, and it was a great experience, but at the end, it didn't end up being what I wanted, and so I think that's part of the reason why I ended up building Remake, and it's inspired by Meteor a lot. But yeah, I mean, a full stack framework I would say is just like trying to take care of as much as it can for you. So like, if it can handle generating routes for you automatically, it's going to do that. If it can handle user accounts for you, it's going to do that. If it can handle like saving data. Remake is a little bit special in that I'm kind of like, as a developer, I'm kind of tired recreating the same things over and over again in terms of like editable interfaces and being able to upload images and stuff like that. So it's actually like taking an opinionated view of like editable components themselves. So it's pretty much like all you have to do as a developer or designer. The idea is that all you have to do is like design a page, and then all of a sudden you have a web application that can be edited by multiple users and duplicated by them, or used as part of a suite of pages. But yeah, if you want examples of like other full stack frameworks, I'd say like Rails is a pretty good example because they're getting there, right? And then there's also that Laravel. Laravel, I think it's not a full stack framework, but I think it's getting there. I think eventually they will get there. But there's one based on, I think, Laravel that I've heard of recently, called Inertia JS. Um, Anyone who's interested in Remake would probably be interested in Inertia JS, to be honest. This is a super cool framework, and it's gonna be big. You guys should watch out for this. It's gonna be super big. So a framework for creating server-driven single-page apps. So the idea is that, um, as far as I understand it, the idea is that
Hello everyone,
um,
writing here. I thought it might be helpful.
you can like create, uh, what is it, like routes in your like view code, right? So you just write view code, but then I think what it does, and I'm not positive on this, but I think what it does is it treats your view code like it's backend code, and so it allows you to kind of use them interchangeably. I don't really know if that's true, but it's something like that. They like combine the front end and the back end in a kind of in a way that they should be, right? Earlier in the stream, I was talking about how, when you're implementing a front end framework, you have to re-implement routes. You have to re-implement, your validation. You have to re-implement, all these checks on the front end that you also have to do on the back end. And so I think this framework, Inertia.js, kind of combines those things a little bit. And it also does code splitting. So it's like only loading like the minimum amount of code on each page. Actually, I think that's this part. Um, so yeah, it just combines like the front end and the back end, and people are already using this in production actually. Um, but yeah, Remake I think is even supposed to be so like if you want to build like a full app, use inertia.js, use Ruby on Rails, use React with Firebase or whatever. But if you want to build like something like simple out of the gate and you just like you want to invest a couple hours into this idea instead of like a few weeks, then I think Remake is where it's at. Because I think like the whole idea behind Remake is like you really don't have to do anything. Like you just have to build some HTML and CSS, bing bang boom, you have a web app. That's cool. That's cool to me. Because I have a lot of ideas, a lot of useful products I think would be useful for people. So the ability to just kind of spin something up really quick just based on an HTML template is pretty compelling to me. But of course, if you're working on a larger team or you're working on a larger project or you're building something big like a social network or an analytics product, that you definitely want to save for the bigger kind of frameworks, right? You want to use Rails or Express.js with like a custom setup or Meteor or something like that. But Remake is perfect for CRUD applications or like simple, pretty like simple interfaces. But as long as the data is like nested, right? As long as you can represent the data as like top level, like medium level, like like smaller level, smaller level, smaller level, like you're going to be good with Remake, right? So as long as you're like you have like projects and tasks and to-dos and like one's inside the other is inside the other, you're going to be totally good, right? And so that works for a lot of different types of projects, I think. But it's obviously it doesn't cover all of them. Otherwise, I'd just be rebuilding Ruby on Rails. But yeah, I think I should say that somewhere here. I think I should say like an intentionally simple framework, like an intentionally something, something that's like simple, but it's like restricted or limited, and intentionally uh, unsophisticated. I kind of like that word. Mavo.io. Um, so I have seen this before. This is by Leah Veru, isn't it? Yeah. Um, so no, I wouldn't say so. Okay, whenever I hear someone say like you compete with these guys, like honestly, if this makes it easier to build web applications and this ends up winning, I'm fine with that. I mean, I'm not like totally fine. Obviously, I put in a year of work into Remake, so I'd be a tiny bit disappointed if Remake doesn't see any success compared to this. But that being said, my ultimate goal is to make web apps very easy to build. And I have looked at this before. It is kind of cool, but it seems a little bit complicated to me, maybe. It doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't, it feels, so like here, right? Delete all tasks. Oh, no, okay, that's actually pretty nice. Never mind. This is awesome. So this, yeah, okay, yeah, okay. So yeah, these are pretty close. There's also another framework though called, but yeah, I mean, yeah, okay. So I do, I guess, compete with this, but I would also think, we could collaborate, right? Like if I see something that's cool from here, maybe I could use it in Remake, or if they're inspired by something in Remake, they could use it there, here, or we could just like talk about it. There's not like yeah, there's not like a huge need for one of us to win. I'd say like there's going to be a lot of frameworks like this pretty soon. Um, but there's one I'm really excited about. That's like it's kind of for like it's like a CMS, but it generates a CMS for you based on the data attributes or based on the attributes you have, and it has a really weird name. It's like it's like the connotation of the name is bad. and it's not Svelte. I know Svelte is stuck in my head for some reason. Sometimes they're on my Twitter, but this is like the worst way to look something up. It's like, oh yeah, let me just scroll through my entire feed to try to find one framework. But I should like list all of these people as like cool things to try out. How do I see who I'm following? No, but seriously. Oh, here we go. Following. Oh, geez. I think I can just scroll through all of this and it'll load all of them, and then I can just search for CMS. No? Jeez. Oh, it didn't load the whole page? Are you serious? Whatever. Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. Yeah, I think so. Like, I think for like prototypes and page builders, it's perfect. Like anything where you have relatively flat data. The data doesn't have to be totally flat, but like if you have like relationships, like strong relationships among your data, like I'm talking about like users have posts, right? That's fine with Remake. Users have posts. But if users also have you know, uh, I don't know, what's another example? Or like if posts have comments, that's fine too. But then if users also have comments, that's a little bit harder to do because now you have users with comments and users with posts. And if you're trying to display these comments on the user page, it's not ideal to do that with Remake. You could still do it, but you're kind of stretching the limits of it. Um, yeah, so data, and it's fine if it's relational, if it's just like a single, if it's just like this relates to this, relates to this, relates to that, you're totally fine. But if it's like this relates to this, and it relates to this, and this one has a relationship to this one, you're screwed, right? So if you're building Facebook, you're building Twitter, you're screwed. Um, and you wouldn't want to realize that too late with Remake, right? And it's not really for like a social application or like a real-time application. So it's not great for like a chat app, right? Um, you're not going to be able to like live edit a document in it with another user. Although eventually I'd love to have these features, right? I'd love to have a chat module built in, but right now, totally not meant for those things. But if you're like handing off a project to a client and you want those pages to be easily added and edited and stuff like that, and you want to just, tag some of your templates, boom, you're good. If you want to build like, I don't know, like a custom calendar that like people can edit the dates of the calendar, Remake would probably be pretty good for that. Like if it's a flat interface, right? If you're like, I don't know, trying to build what was I thinking? Like a resume builder, an email builder, any kind of page builder, portfolio site, all of those things. Great for. And the thing is, it's not great for, like, it's not only great for if you want to make your own portfolio site. What it is great for is if you want to make an app where other people can create and edit their own portfolio sites. So it's not for like a single client. This is the key thing about the whole thing, actually, is that it's not for a single client. It's for multiple clients who you're going to sign up and have them all edit their own portfolio site. So you design one web page, right? And now all of a sudden you have a portfolio that you can release to a bunch of users and charge them $5 a month for. And all you did was create a template, that's nicely designed with CSS and a little bit of sprinkle of JavaScript, and you have a web application. So that's kind of the idea, that instead of that having to take, like 4 weeks or 8 weeks to build, you could build that in an afternoon, and you could release it, the next week, and create another one, right? Um, but what is that other framework called? It starts with an S, and it's something stupid. It's like something that's worthless or something. It's like trivia. It means something like trivia or boring, something. Why is it so hard to think of it? CMS 2019. I feel like there was an article like this where I found it in. Let's see. Let's just scroll through random things. WordPress, Squarespace, Magnolia. These are boring. These are boring. You know who used it? I can't even think of his name. He is building a podcast hosting, and his name is Justin Jackson. Okay, so Justin Jackson used this, so I can search for him. Justin Jackson, Twitter. This is probably not how you spell his name. Podcasting company. There we go. Here we go. This guy used it, I think recently. Might not have been recently. Oh, why isn't it recently? Okay. Let's search. Justin Jackson, CMS. Vapid. See, I had it totally right. Like boring, worthless, right? It's kind of like that. I can't believe I just took this long to find Vapid. And it's a competitor. So if you guys want to like use something that's ready and being used in production, you should check out Vapid. It's actually pretty effing awesome. Like, look at this. So all you have to do is like put this, right? Put this in your template, and all of a sudden you get this, right? Oh, how cool is that? This is like so fucking cool, right? So you just put in like the template thing, right? And then boom, you get this. You just put in this and you say, oh, this is a HTML editor and it's not required. Boom, you get this HTML editor. And then you can just, put whatever classes or whatever you want on it, and whatever you save here on the back end is going to be inserted in there. And it's just a CMS. But I think the one downside, okay, two downsides about this, just to give Remake a chance against this, because this is a fucking awesome technology right here. Vapid is. But just to give Remake a chance against this, one, this isn't made for building, even though it could easily probably be modified for this, but this is made for building a single website for a single person, for a single like client, right? And so you could like copy it and reship it and rehost it or whatever. But the idea behind Remake is that you have multiple user accounts all using different pages. Also, this is mostly for a website, right? Mostly for building websites. So it's not going to give your clients the interactive way to maybe like add new items or like add new to-dos or anything. Maybe it's not perfect for building a web application. It's more for like a CMS, but it's still pretty cool. And then the other thing is, what was it? Multiple user accounts, websites. I don't know. It's pretty cool. You built a static site generator with what you see is what you get, like editor based on JSON schema once. It didn't scale well for multiple clients and projects or ever changing projects. What do you mean by ever changing projects? Multiple clients projects. It didn't scale well for multiple clients and projects. Why didn't it scale well for multiple clients? This is cool though. This sounds pretty nice. I think I should mention in the documentation inspired by. So we're gonna have a bunch of things down here, or we can have like similar to. Okay, so we'll say I wasn't really inspired by this, so we'll just say similar to. Because I found out about this after I created mine. And we'll say similar to. and similar to, and inspired by, I would say React, definitely. Love React. Um, I'd say it was a little bit inspired by the Rails one. Um, or sorry, yeah, what was the base? We just searched Basecamp open source. There we go. Stimulus. I wonder if they've updated this recently. Yeah, nice. Yeah, they have. Past 15 days. So this is pretty up to date. Okay, inspired by stimulus. I feel like I was inspired by a bunch of other things. I could say like React slash Vue. Um, hmm. I don't know. Rails kind of in the way that it like tries to take care of everything, but not really in anything more than that. I've never really like had a Rails project. Oh, Meteor, definitely. Oh yeah? I used that once, but I don't think I was inspired by it. I actually thought it was way too hard. Is this the one? Yeah, AngularJS. There we go. Learn, tutorial, templating. Oh yeah, you know what I should say? I should mention somewhere that that this framework doesn't handle rendering. I think I should mention that. Mention somewhere. Server rendered. Framework doesn't render anything except, well, it does kind of render stuff. Doesn't render pages. Only partials. Yeah, I mean, so yeah, it's a weird kind of thing, the framework. It's like, it's basically the source of truth of Remake is the DOM. So the like key insight was that like for user data, if like the user wants to mess up their own data, that's fine, right? So just dump all their data on the page and let them edit it, and then they send you back the data, and then that's your source of truth. So the front end of Remake is I really should write these things down sometimes. Um, uh, the DOM is the source of truth. The I don't know. It's hard to write it down in a way that makes sense. But yeah, um, so you're always saving the data that's in the HTML, but and you're letting the user modify that with inline edit components. And so when you change that data, you're changing it on the page. That's the part that Remake handles the rendering of. But on the back end, you're rendering the full pages, and you're also rendering the partials that the user wants to add into the page. So the front end isn't really responsible for rendering any HTML. Um, uh, all HTML is and pages are rendered by the server. The Remake doesn't render pages. It does change data on the page and add data from partials to the page. I don't know. I feel like there's like a lot of things that need to be summed up by this, like very quickly. A lot of like insights I've had along the way of like trying to use React and Meteor and like running into problems with them and just like getting fed up with how complicated it can be to like create a web application. Maybe like put this somewhere like fed up with how complicated it is to create a web app these days. I don't know, maybe. But I do like this thing I have here. Let's open this. So, how do I zoom in? Oh my goodness. So a new kind of HTML. HTML comes with a lot of things for free. What if it came with everything you needed to build a web app easily? What if creating a to-do app was as simple as writing this? So this is a great dream, but it's not exactly what Remake does. It is kind of where I want to take it, right? Like I would love to just have, I don't know, something along these lines. But it does kind of seem like that's what was it, Maven or Mavo? What Mavo is doing. I wonder, updated in the last 2 months. So maybe it's not like super, super, super well uh, being like maintained, but oh no, 7 days ago. Okay, never mind. You're good. I mean, 2 months isn't even that long, to be honest. Um, yeah. Yeah, this is a cool way of describing it. I could actually describe Remake the same way as this, huh? I should totally reach out to them. Mavo extends the syntax of HTML to describe web applications that manage, store, and transform data, store data in the cloud locally or not at all by just changing an HTML attribute. Edit data right in the website with an intuitive, auto-generated custom interface. I could like literally just... This is ugly though. What is this? Editing? Oh, and then you can just edit it? Huh. Wow. I don't know. It's not eh. I mean it's cool. I don't get me wrong, it's cool. But it's a little weird. I like Remake better for the editing interface. Yeah, this is not intuitive to me. This feels a little weird. But it's cool that they support all of these things and it's like reactive and stuff. Um, Multimedia uploads via drag and drop pasting or browsing without a single line of code perform calculations right in the HTML and that update whenever needed. No need to write JavaScript. Whew. How cool is that, huh? What? What? So they're scanning the entire page for like open bracket? And the color too, huh? Wow. Property color. This is cool. This is some cool stuff. I really like their syntax. I mean, it's a little similar to Remake, but I mean, they came up way before. I'm not saying anything about that, but like, uh, it's pretty cool. I don't like the idea. So like, I think what they should not have when they're showing like the first examples. I don't know. This is just light feedback, but this stuff, app, storage, and plugins. In my opinion, that doesn't belong for like a beginner, right? Property image. This is cool. Login. Huh. It would be cool if this was just editable right out of the gate. Um, huh. Oh, that's weird. Is that weird? Why do they have a plus button on the to-do that creates a to-do next to it? I guess that kind of makes sense. And then they have a drag button. Yeah, I don't know. I could see this totally taking off. Not that it already hasn't. I mean, it has 2,000 stars on GitHub. So maybe a lot of people are using it, but I could see it taking off even more. This is cool. I like it. I should definitely reach out to them. Okay, so I think, yeah, I'm not going to have this one. Okay, so what do I actually need to create an app? I need this, and unfortunately I need the partial in order to add a new to-do. It would be kind of cool if I didn't need the partial and I could just insert this right into here. But then how would this know? So this would have to find itself in the backend template, right? So if we could find this, and then it would have to go into the closest list, which would be here. It would have to grab the template that's inside the each, and then use that as the template. Hey Poseidon ID, I am creating a full stack framework that is server rendered and allows you to create editable web applications with a few data attributes. So for example, I can show you an application that we have. So we have index, to-do list, and to-do. So this, this page, this is the index page, this is the to-do list, this is the to-do list partial, and then this is the actual to-do item. And I'll show you what that application looks like. So we go here, we have the to-do lists, we have the edit button, which will pop up an edit area. And this comes for free with Remake, this edit area. And then you can click into each one of these, or you can add a new one. And if you click into it, you can view the to-dos, and you can check them off. And you can add a new to-do, and you can edit them or remove them. And all of that comes from just these 4 templates with data attributes. And you don't really need to write any backend logic in order to get this application to work, in order for you to render new to-dos, in order for you to render new to-do lists. All of that comes for free pretty much out of the box with the framework. So the idea is that you can create page builders, simple applications, like all kinds of like simple web applications with this. And we even built like an adventure story where you have like multiple choice, like, what do you call that one? Choose your own adventure, like those books from when you were kids. So we built like an app where you have choose your own adventure, and you can go in and see and like choose step by step your next step. And that was all pretty easy. Well, not super easy, but it was pretty easy to do with Remake. So you can get pretty advanced. We also built a Trello clone in about 30 minutes, and we have a tutorial on that on the in the documentation. And it's pretty easy to get started with. All you have to do is npm install, and then npm create, and then you've got a web app, and you can start playing around with this app right now if you wanted. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Basically, you get CRUD operations for free, you get saving for free, and like everything's meant to be pretty simple and easy to understand. I hope you're still here and I didn't just like scare you away. Okay, so going back to this. So I think I could do that, right? I could just find the each and the each, and then I could get that data. It would just be nice to have like a simple application example. Oh, nice. Thank you. Um, where it was just like this. So what if this was like the simplest? So right now, this is kind of the simplest, right? Where you have to actually create a partial and in each loop, which kind of sucks a little bit. Oh, thank you, Poseidon ID, for following. I really appreciate it. Um, and then in the to-do, let's see. So we need the ability. Oh, and sorry, in the to-do list, we also need the ability to add a to-do. Okay. So I'm just trying to create like, ideally in my like ideal documentation, what would the simplest remake app look like? So we'd have a list here, then we'd have an object. We don't need any classes. We don't need this to be styled. We'll have this. We don't need the ID. We don't need is complete. We can just delete it when it's done. So we'd have this with the to-do text. Unfortunately, we do need that. And we need it to be editable. Okay. Unfortunately, we need all that. I think the default should probably be with remove, but whatever. We'll delete this. We don't need the to do the done button. And yeah, we need this, unfortunately. And then we need this. Okay, so that's a lot of attributes. And then we have a button, and we say add to do, and like this. Oh wait, and we need an each. We would need the each. Okay, so then here we'd say each, and then I think this is a valid syntax. Handle bar helpers. No, that's not what I wanted. I do wonder if that would be useful though. Expressions? No, we want block helpers. This one. Okay, so do we have an each here? We do. Each. Where is as? Okay, maybe this isn't what the page I'm looking for. Where is the... That's cool. Helpers. Helpers. Send helpers. Why can't I go into helpers? Each comment, each items. Oh, here. Built-in helpers. Here we go. Each people, each paragraphs. There we go. As value key. Okay. So we need to have this. And we say to do instead. Okay, cool. So I did have the syntax right. Okay, so list, and then each, and then object, key, editable, watch. Huh, yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot to kind of parse. But let's I think this is my like dream intro. So let's not ruin that. Let's create like another intro. And we'll say like real. And let's paste this in here. Wait, what happened? Huh? I did copy this. Oh, I guess maybe I didn't. What if it was as simple as this? Oh my goodness. Does not look simple. That looks simple. This does not look simple. Yeah, I don't know what to do. I mean, I guess I could add a helper, right? So maybe there's like a helper here where I could say like something like to do, and then I forget how you do helpers, or is it even helpers? Helpers. Okay, so that comes first. Okay, so I would need to do something like this. So we'll say like data item. I don't know. It doesn't have to be this, but data item to do. So that would add. Oh, here we go. Data object to do. So that would set this property. That would set this, and somehow know how to get this. Sure. And then this, I would know to edit with text single line. Okay, maybe. And then this could be the default too. Yeah. So maybe this can be my new dream of getting to this point. That simplifies a lot of things, but I don't know if it's feasible. But yeah, interesting. Definitely interesting. Um, okay, cool. So I am going to head out. I really appreciate everyone who stopped by today. We made a lot of progress. We made the save attribute not necessary. Next time, we're going to, I think, yeah, we're going to make we're going to simplify the new item attribute. Then we're going to enhance the editable popover. Then we're going to continue to enhance the editable popover. We're going to add a few more small enhancements to Remake in general, this one included. We're going to add another enhancement, and then we've already got the to-do app working, so that can be done. Okay, cool. Then after that, we're going to finish the documentation, build the doc site, set a launch date, build a live example. What's a live example? I already did this. Oh, maybe deploy to glitch. Yeah, that could be good. And a 5-minute quick start. Share with friends. And then do a launch. So yeah, pretty exciting stuff. That's all I've got for now. I appreciate you guys stopping by. I hope that Remake gets a lot easier to understand in the future. Awesome. Thank you so much, Stephen. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you guys later, maybe tomorrow for like an hour or two, but definitely next Thursday. Okay. I will see y'all later and have a nice weekend.